the great Aretha Franklin. There's so many good things that you could say about Aretha Franklin, but most of us have watched her from a distance. Someone who was able to watch this magnificent lady from close up was Alan Stout, who was a former entertainment writer for one of the newspapers around here, but still active in the business, so to speak. Alan, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Rob. How are you? Good morning. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk with you. I saw the article. You were explaining what it was like when she was at the FM Kirby Center. And so many people forget that she actually graced the stage there because it was so long ago.
Yeah, it was, I guess, 16 years ago now. It was 2002. She came to town. It was a sold-out show. So many great entertainers that have come through that beautiful building. She came through and really gave a very memorable performance for a couple of reasons, actually. You know, first and foremost was, of course, her performance, her voice, which really never failed her. I mean, She was still singing beautifully as recently as last year.
Yep.
That was magnificent that night. I mean, you just played a little clip of Bridge Over Troubled Water, which she did play that night at the Kirby, and you know, she kind of gave it this gospel influence, and I mean, she was just incredible. I mean, this is a pop singer who could sing opera.
Yes, she could sing anything. Well, wasn't her roots in gospel? Didn't she?
It was.
Start in gospel? Yeah.
Yeah, she started off as a gospel singer, and then, you know, to the late 60s, became a pop singer and a soul singer, obviously. Became the queen of soul. Amazing career. I mean, so many, you know, she had 20 #1 R&B hits. She was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She had, I think, 17 top 20 pop hits, 18 Grammy Awards. Just an absolutely incredible career in music.
And it has been such a long career for her, and you have to think back from when she started to where she is now, and I cannot think of one bad story about her. I can't think of anybody saying anything about her except how great she was and what a great person she was.
Yeah, you heard some great stories of people that encounter her. You know, if there's anything about Aretha that makes us chuckle a little bit about her personality, and I think she enjoyed that role, was of the diva. You know, she was she performed at Divas Live 1998, which was the first of the VH1 Diva series, which they did a couple of back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I remember those.
And she really stole the show. I mean, she was on stage with Celine Dion and Mariah Carey, and absolutely just outsang them all. And it was clearly there's some interesting articles that were moving around on the web yesterday about that night in New York at the Beacon Theater, where she basically tried to out-diva the divas.
Well, you have
and then she had a little diva moment at the Kirby Center.
Yeah, you have to tell that story. That's a great story.
Well, what happened was I was covering the concert for the Times Leader, and when I cover concerts, I usually try to get a little peek at the set list. Sometimes the sound guy will give it to me, or sometimes I'll just take a look at it if it's on the board. And I saw it on the board, and it had most of the songs that you would expect that she would be playing. But right in the middle of it were the words "fake exit." And I had no idea what that meant, but I just said, okay, and I wrote it down along with the other song titles, and I went over and started reviewing the show. And right at that moment in the show, where she had "fake exit" written on her set list, she threw a big hissy fit over the air conditioning in the Kirby Center. And she said, basically I had asked if this not be on, it's on, I can't sing like this. And she walked off stage, and her band's playing, and they're kind of looking at each other like, what's this all about? And a couple minutes later, she came back, and she said, I'm sorry, but I know you folks paid a lot of money to see me sing tonight, and I can't sing while that air conditioning was on. And if it comes back on again, I'm leaving again. And you know, it was kind of her, Aretha being Aretha, acting like a diva. But I really do believe that it was all just part of the show, because I saw the fake exit was written down on the set list right at that moment. So I think what probably happened was she probably realized, she was 60 years old at that time. Maybe I need a little break during the show. Why don't I just have a little Aretha moment and have some fun with it.
Yeah, because later on she gave good reviews about the venue.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, it was. I'm sure she was fine with it. And the funny part was, Marilyn Santorelli was the director of the Kirby Center at the time. I remember her calling me at the Times Leader the next day and thanking me for that because, you know, she didn't want anybody to think that Aretha Franklin wasn't happy with the Kirby Center, and obviously she wasn't. I think it was all just part of Aretha being Aretha.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was something I always remembered about that show, that's for sure. But really, more than anything, just the voice, you know, just the command. Even when she spoke between songs, she had her voice boomed, you know.
Well, you know, it didn't come as a surprise because we all knew she was fighting cancer for quite a while. But when you hear it initially, you always think, she'll be here tomorrow. They'll be here tomorrow. And then comes those dreaded words that, you know, the end is near, and then to break in and, you know, and say that she had passed on. That has happened to so many people. But with her,
she had a very bad form of cancer.
Yeah, so she had the pancreatic cancer.
The fact that she hung in as long as she did with that form of cancer just shows you what a tough gal she was. That's for sure. She
was a tough person, and the world has lost. The world has lost a very joyful person that brought a lot of joy to everybody who would sit back and listen to that unbelievable voice of hers.
If you see some of the performances that are out there when she did the Kennedy Honors event where she sang for the president, and at the inauguration when President Obama was inaugurated, I mean, these are things that happened much later in his career. These are things, 10 years ago or 8 years ago, some of these things. Still incredible. Just, her voice drew emotion from people.
It did.
And that's what soul music is supposed to do.
and that's why she was indeed and probably always will be the queen of soul.
Absolutely.
There was never a voice like it, and it's going to be very hard pressed to try and duplicate a talent like that. And the world is saddened by her passing and losing that great voice. But thank God that we have her recordings, we have her music, so we'll be able to hear it just about any time we want to.
Absolutely.
Alan, I appreciate you joining us because I know anytime things like this come up, you usually have some really good inside stories because you've covered things like this for so very long. So anytime I'm on the air and anything like this happens, you know that you're going to get a call from me.
Well, I appreciate it, Rob. I was very fortunate for many years to cover concerts for a living, and I did it for about 17 years, and saw all these entertainers perform, often right here in our own home region. So, I'm always happy to share some stories and remind folks that, they were here, and, she brought the house down. She had several standing ovations that night, several standing ovations.
I'm sure she'll get one where she's going now, too, for quite some time.
Absolutely.
Alan, thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you, Rob.
It was a pleasure hearing from you.
Bye.
Alan K. Stout, who, as you heard, was the entertainment editor for the Times Leader for almost 20 years.